harvesting this other end of the U-joint from this rig. It should, I mean, this rig was just a test rig to see if I could get enough power to plug something in the wall.
For a long time, get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes.
Alright guys, finished harvesting the rig for parts. Now comes the fun stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into building the first part of the compact motion simulator, 30 degrees of freedom. This is going to be great. Alright, so on this rig, from the front of the both frames to approximately the end of the seat, we've got 48 inches. So what we want to do is I don't want to go beyond the back of the seat. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these 1.5 inch square tubing. All right, so I'm going to measure it out to 48, which is right here. I put a little mark and square it up and then cut it. For the mid frame, I found out that I don't need to widen the mid frame like I did on this rig. I can make just a straight, make the frame square instead of widening it out like I did on this frame. So this is going to be 14.5 inner, and we're just going to square it up with one piece on the front. This is the mid frame, one temporary piece in the middle, and then one piece on the end. We're going to be running the skateboard wheels on the middle and the end. All right guys, so I kind of got these pieces cut out. Make sure that you use the flap disc and clean off the edge that you're going to be welding on. So I need to clean this one off. And then we'll use some acetone. You just want to wipe it down, maybe twice. It's just going to give a better weld, and you'll kind of regret it if you don't use it. And make sure you cap your acetone, get it out of the place that you're going to weld. All right, so after you clean everything off and align it up, I'm aligning the first one. I'm using a square to check. 4 square. Looks good. Looks good. If you need to, tap it with a hammer. So let's get these two little things welded on. So really the first thing I'm going to do is a little tack weld. Right there. I'll go on this side, do one. Then here, on the bottom, all right. So basically, you just want to keep everything cool. So let it kind of cool down a little bit, and keep checking for square. So I flipped it over and check it for square. You need to use a couple different clamps. Looks like I need to move that over. Should be good. These are already cleaned off, so I should be able to tack them in place. All right, so I don't want to assume that everybody has all these tools, but what's really handy is if you get yourself a welder, a hat, some gloves, and then you can actually make stuff like this without having to bolt it together and drill a bunch of holes and stuff. So welding, you know, I'm not real good at it. I'm getting a little bit better. Now, I didn't buy a very expensive welder, and I got it on sale, and I got it like 3 years ago, and I've just been welding all sorts of different things together. Surprisingly how many times you can use one of these things. So basically what I do is I clamp the ground to the table, get it on there somewhere, and then the metal will contact the table, and then this will cause an arc. So I'm just going to clip off the end, just leave a little bit of wire there. And what I need to do is clean these up with acetone one more time, and then tack weld the last part in. I've already cleaned them once before, but I've been monkeying around with it. I just want to make sure that it's nice and clean. See, there'll be some kind of black stuff that comes off there. That way you don't have any contaminants, and it just makes a better weld. I just put on my glove. These were very inexpensive gloves. I think they were 15 bucks, something like that. Try to clean the tip of this thing off. Slam the hat down and go to town. Now I can use the angle grinder, and this brush works pretty cool. Or you can use one of these brushes, which that just takes a little bit longer. Now I'm not really a great expert at this, but this stuff is holding up. And to me, these little, they're not quite dime size, but it's not real. All right, so I'm just going to flip this over and shut off the welder. I'm going to leave this clamp on. I'm going to unclamp it here. Just flip it over. And this would be the rear where we attach the skateboard wheels to. It would be the mid section where we attach the skateboard wheels. And right here will be the front where we're going to put this this swivel right here. Well, we're going to attach it to the bottom, but that's going to go right here. And that's that. Knock off. So if you guys are new to this and just wondering, wow, I need a lot of different things to weld steel. Well, you need a few things. You need a welder. You can get them pretty cheap. They're not real good, but this is semi-structural, and you're not going to be welding giant thick pipes, just this thin steel. And like this flux core welder I have, it seems to do the job. It's a little messy, but it is what it is. You're going to need like maybe a couple clamps. You can use this type, or something like this, and you're going to need a cutoff wheel, or at least this cutoff, what's called a cutoff wheel. So it's whatever's going to fit your angle grinder, and you're going to need some flap discs. So basically, you just want to keep everything square. Let me get that frame up for you. So this is the frame, all right? This frame has to be pretty strong. it's basically going to support the top frame and all your weight, the weight of those two motors, and the seat, the wheel, the pedals. So this, everything is going to be just pushing straight down on this. So it has to be pretty strong. I wouldn't go with inch square tubing, although it's a little bit less, a little bit less expensive than the 1.25 inch that I have here. But on this rig, 1.25 inch, I built pretty much everything out of it except for a little bit on the stand here and this little seat frame, or the back of the seat frame. And it's held up really well for 3 years of really hard use. I mean, I don't drive it every day, but when I drive it, it's for hours at a time. Okay, so I got 14.5 across these, 14.5. They're squared up, and they're squared up. And these little magnets, you can get those at the store too. They just kind of help hold everything down. I do have a clamp here. Let's put some tacks on this. Remember, this is the bottom frame for right now. Well, I went to Walmart, but all I could find is these things. I don't think that's gonna do. I did find these. 60 bucks. I don't know. I guess I'll get them. Well, green it is. That's what color this new motion sim's going to be. One thing that you're going to notice is that you're going to need to grind down this little part right here, or it will be uneven. When we put it on the bar, it's going to have this weird little bit of an angle. So we're going to need to grind away just a little bit here to even it up with here. Alright, so I use the flap disc, and looks pretty even now compared to before. So it should be level. So I drop this in place, line up the marks, the center, and this is what I'm talking about. So we want this to be just about as level as we can get it. Maybe I went a little bit too deep. We'll put the bolt in, we'll see what it looks like. But you could run some kind of a, maybe some screws or something like that, just to hold it onto the bottom frame. Alright, so a buddy of mine from xstimulator.net gave me an idea just the other day about your front pivot. And so I'm going to look at this thing. It looks pretty cool. I don't know much about Ally Express, but something like this one here, that might work. So there's many ways to do this. Yeah, and these are 1/2 inch. We'll just tighten it up a little bit. Alright, so now our pivot is complete, and we kind of want to measure what this is, so we get about the same gap. That is 1/2 inch. So on the bottom frame, this piece here, this is what the wheels are going to be supported by. I want to kind of get it in place. Alright, so hopefully this is going to make sense. The wheels are mounted just off center. Put a couple washers in here, and we're going to have 2 of them. The range of motion is going to be about like this. You don't need a whole heck of a lot, but something like that. The center of the wheel, I'm going to put it 2 inches from the edge. So all our holes are going to be 2 inches from the edge. And what we'll do is we'll cover this little back part with just a little piece of metal. Just a thin piece of metal. All right, so I measured over here 2 inches and by 1/2 inch. And that's where we're going to drill our 1/2 inch hole for each wheel. So I'm going to punch it. So you want to square up your drill. All right, guys, I do apologize. Had some bad news. Ran out of welding wire. So I'm going to cut this episode short. We're so close too. We've got the traction loss frame working. We still need to, you know, kind of tack in this center brace on the bottom frame. We still need to mount these back wheels, and we need to cut this back frame and angle it out a little bit so that when the wheels are out here, they have something to ride on. And we'll mount the motor. Other thing, I got in the tie rod ends, left and right hand. I think they're 3/8 inch. The link is in the description. You know, thought I could get it done today. At least these 2 frames, they're mated up, but it's not quite done. I would have done it, but out of welding wire, didn't expect that. All right, guys, so check back this weekend if you can. I really do appreciate you all tuning in and your enthusiasm level. It really helps me to think about making videos for you guys, and think about me actually pushing my limits a little bit more than I normally do. It's really pretty darn cool once you get these things moving, and this is going to be compact. Man, this is going to rock. And you guys that live in small spaces, apartments, or just don't have a lot of space to put a big old thing like this in there, man, this is the way to go. You have 3 degrees of freedom. You'll have heave, you'll have sway, surge, you'll have braking, you know, acceleration, and traction loss. So right now, we're almost done with the traction loss. I bought all the steel I needed for the upper frame. I bought it today with hopes of being able to, you know, get some work done on it, as I took the day off as a extra holiday. Anyway, guys, Dave out.